about the coming shift and what we're going to do about it. Viktor Frankl said, when we're no longer able to change a situation, we're challenged to change ourselves. So the market shifts, right? And we understand what a market shift is. A shift occurs when a market moves from a buyer's market to a seller's market or a seller's market to a buyer's market. The shift occurs, right? And it's fast. The thing that we understand about shifts is it takes a long time to build up, but you don't feel it. And then it's like a golf swing. It literally is slow here and accelerates through, and it happens very quickly. You wake up one day and the phone doesn't ring. That's what happens. Now, here's the truth of it is, and that is the available income in a market determines the number of agents in that market, right? So we just call this the law of equilibrium. So people always say, well, how am I going to make a career of the market shifting? I said, hang on, you need to realize, just double down on your lead generation, cut your expenses as tight as you can, and you will discover that people will get out of the business. Equilibrium will show up. Again, I've been doing this a long time. It shows up. And when it does, you'll find there are less people in it. A lot of them gave up. And you will find that you will accelerate back out in your business. You will come out of the shift, and it will become even bigger and more successful than you were before you went in. And this proves to be true throughout my career, right?
Tomorrow in the vision speech, we'll show you the actual stats about how we had this prolonged recovery. We have 1.3 million plus realtors in the business, and the competition for each side is the most competitive it's been in a long time.
It is. There isn't any question. The world is different today, and there's a lot of unsettled feelings out there, unsettling feelings out there. And what I want you to understand is, though the world is operating in that way, the law of equilibrium is a truth that exceeds any situation. And absolutely just put your faith in it, okay? Funny thing is, people are attracted to the industry by the perceived income opportunity, and they're driven out by the reality of competition for it, right? Lean into the competition. Don't lead away. So the market shifts, and then you have to shift, right? And the first thing you have to do is you have to literally set your mind. To survive a shift, you must first make the mental shift. And that means you have to get real, right? And people don't like it. A lot of people keep hoping, hey, maybe I can get through an entire career without having to shift or change. Good luck with that. You will, by the way. And the trick there is just get real. And that means pay attention, right? Realize that you're in this situation, and it means you're going to have to behave differently. You cannot behave the same way you've been behaving. You can't. Otherwise, you're going to see everything that you built or the career that you had, you're going to see it slide. You're going to see your business slide. It's going to happen to you.
The people who make that shift the fastest almost always have the advantage.
Yes, thank you for saying that. So the people that make that mental shift quick, and for me, again, I've been through this so many times in my life, Jay, that when I see a shift, first I go, oh no, and then I go, wee. And the reason is because I've gone through this so many times, right? When I got in real estate, interest rates within 6 months went to 16, 18% interest. And our sellers were paying 14 discount points in Texas. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I came to understand that shift happens, right? And just understand that most people are going to fight it. They're going to deny it. They're going to try to live through it without doing anything different. And it never works that way. It never works, right? Once you've gotten real, you got to get right. Take the right actions now is just as necessary as knowing what to do. It's not about just knowing. You got to do it. You got to take the actions, right? And there's two critical actions, and you know them. And that's lead generation and lead conversion. If you're a salesperson, that's it. You got to do that. You got to double down on the lead generation. In a shift, nothing more critical than finding motivated buyers and sellers and closing them for an appointment. Nothing matters more, okay? And there are less of them, which means that you have to make up for that by being smarter about your lead generation, because there's less of them. That's why it's a shift. If there were more of them, that'd be a booming market, but there's less. So the same things that you did is going to give you less results, which means you have to change what you do, right? So to me, and for Jay, we drew it differently here than we drew it in MREA, but if there were anything that I would pause for a second and just talk about, it's this graphic right here. because the actions that we take determines the habits that we build, and the habits that we build ultimately define our life more than any other singular thing in our life. We are defined by our habits.
The most Instagrammed, photographed, repeated quote from The One Thing is by D.M. Alexander. And it's people don't decide their futures. They decide their habits, and their habits decide their futures.
Yes. So when I teach kids about life and business and all of that achievement and living big and all that, I ask them, I say, let me ask you a question. I say, are you following the 30,000 a year time management system? Are you following the 50,000? Are you following the 75? Are you following the 100,000? Are you following the 500,000? Are you following the $1 million? Are you following the $5 million time management system? And they all look at me bewildered and fall right in.
How do I know?
Yeah, they fall into the trap of going, how would I know? And I said, it's real easy. How much money do you make? Did you hear that? In other words, how you manage time ultimately determines the success of your life more than anything else. You with me? And the problem is that when we come into real estate, the way we manage time is the way we managed it before. And there's this thing called insanity, and that's doing the same thing and expecting different results. If you get into business, if you start a career like this, if you don't immediately, whether you want the money or not is irrelevant to me. Don't make it about money. Make it about getting the most out of your life. And that is, you have to go, to me, there's only one set of actions to take, and that's the actions of the most successful person on the planet. And there's only habits I want are the habits of the people that live the longest, have the happiest marriages, that have the most wonderful relationship with their kids, that have the best dogs on the planet, and make the most money in their career and help the most people. I want to follow those actions. I don't know of any other action I want to take. And I would look at you, and if you said to me, what do I need to do in order to get my career to the next level? I would say, quit following anybody who doesn't have an amazing real estate career. Stop following that. They can be your friends, but don't try to pick up their habits. Go to the habits of the individual who has an extraordinary business and simply give up the need to think about it or judge it and just do what they're doing. Later, as you begin to put the pieces together and understand why what they do causes the success, you can pick and choose and add and subtract and invent your own life around that. But in the beginning, it's the wrong time to be creative, right? We talked about that, building the hobo shack, right? In MREA. Don't do that. This is it right here. Take this slide, put it on your wall, and think about it every day, right? That's the trick.
A lot of people see that, Gary, and they see, if I had the actions, the habits, and the relationships of someone who did 100 million, it's like, well, I don't want 100 million. It doesn't matter. If you were following those,
Not about
you
the
can
money.
take it as far as you want, but you have a choice. You never have to stop and reinvent yourself to go to the next level.
Yes, millionaire real estate agent. It's not about the money. Never was about the money.
Right.
Never about the money. It's about the life you live, okay? Number two, you have to remargin your business. You have to lower your expenses. You have to lower your expenses and costs right now. Revenuing your way out of a shift is iffy at best. The profit you seek will always be made in the way you manage money. Why? Because you can spend every dollar you make. Okay? When the market shifts, you have to create a budget that matches the revenue that you have, right? So I love this about Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett's partner, and this is one of my favorite quotes from Charlie, and he says, name a business that's been ruined by downsizing. I can't name one. Name a company that's been ruined by bloat. I can name dozens. Okay? You cannot revenue your way out of a shift. When the world shifts, when the market shifts, when things shift, you have to right-size your expenses against your revenue. So by the way, how do you do this? Well, you drop your expenses until your inflow exceeds your outflow at an acceptable level. And then you play red light, green light. Basically meaning when you go to spend a dollar, you hold that dollar accountable to give you a return. If it doesn't, red light. Don't keep spending more and more money. Stick right with that amount until you get a return, right? If you hire an assistant and you paid that assistant $42,000, let's say a year, and you don't get a multiple return, your income doesn't go up by 3 or 4 times $42,000, you got the wrong assistant. You got the wrong assistant, okay? And you don't need to spend more money. You need to find a different assistant, okay? And make your battle right up front, okay? Number 3, grow your budget incrementally in line with your acceptable profit margin, right? And get back to the basics, right? And we know what those are, the 6 core competencies. And by the way, the one that matters most is lead generate, capture, and convert to appointments. And that is the key. In a shift, it becomes the absolute issue, right? And get your leverage right. When the market shifts, it's time to roll up your sleeves and for everyone around you to do the same. It's all hands on deck. It's time to consider effectiveness and efficiency as tools of necessity. It's time to evaluate which resources and services get to stay and which get to go. It's time to see what bang you can get for the buck you got. Okay? When the market shifts, your organization also has to shift. A shift can be a wonderful opportunity to evaluate, upgrade, and top grade your business, an unsolicited gift of the shift, if you will, right? Then you got to find the motivated, right? You got to lead generate. We talked about that 2 slides ago. This is when the true competitive nature of our business reveals itself. It's time to stop trying to get your fair share of the market and do everything you can do to get an unfair share. And it always drives me crazy in working with people. And they keep trying to get their fair share. And they don't use that word, but they kind of have this amount of business in mind. And if they get there and it delivers an income, they slow down. And they begin to manage their life around having that money. The market shifts and it starts taking that money away and they feel cheated. They feel like life did them a dirty deal, okay? No, it didn't. This happens, right? Time block, we talked about that. Think of it as making an appointment with yourself. Once done, you have to protect it against all distractions, right? This is the saying that I have in my office and I've had for decades. Until my number 1 priority is done, everything else is just a distraction, okay? And that's what time blocking looks like, right? For us, it's if you took a list here, and you said door knocking gave me 10 leads, calls to Spear 7, agent referrals 2, and you went down the list, what you would do is reprioritize. You would say, well, clearly expired listings, door knocking, and calling my Sphere, and 12 direct in some manner, open houses. These are the 5 areas, and I'm gonna do these 5, and you double down on those, right? And by the way, it's a fact, isn't it, Jay?
Yeah, survey after survey. We've done this now twice. And when you look at our top 200 agents, 80% of them got 90% of their business from just 5 sources or less. And it's almost always, right there, that first one is almost always going to be repeat referral business. So it's not like they're doing a whole bunch of stuff. When times are good, they'll start saying yes, but their fundamental business is in that first 5 and often in the first 3.
And they master those. They actually master it.
They're
right?
known for them.
That's right. That's right. Well, we don't have time to do this, so we're gonna we have to get to our panel. But
everybody will get access to these slides. It's just like the 7th level open house with a couple of new twists. Like you're going to take it to the max.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, so all these slides I think are already loaded up, and you can get them. They were
That's
already
right,
preloaded. All those. So this was just the final one was just an example. But I think it'd be better if we brought out our panel right now.
Oh yeah,
and
let's
bring
hear
out
from the
stools
pros.
with the panel. Here they're coming. I know they're coming. Here they come. I know they're coming. I know they're coming. I know it's happening. I see it. There we go. I see it happening. I knew it was going to happen.
There we go.
Awesome. Come on out, guys. We have more than 1 stool. Come on. I can help you. We can do this faster.
Here we go.
How you doing? Hi, Smokey.
Smokey.
Good to see you.
Brother.
Alina, how are you?
We're bringing more. There we go. All right, so we're going to have 2 panels real quick, and then we're going to end on a quick interview, and we're out of here.
Hi, Gary.
Hello, dear.
Hello.
Woohoo! So, Smokey, if you would introduce yourself and tell us what we're going to talk about.
Okay, well, I'm glad to be here, Gary. My name is Smokey Garrett. I am Regional Director, North Texas, New Mexico, Memphis, and I am also, there we go, also very fortunate enough to be the driver of Keller Mortgage.
Now, do we have a video? I thought we had a video to play.
We do have a video, yes.
Okay, are we going to play it?
You want to play it? I'm good playing it.
I would like to play it, if that's okay.
This is Keller Mortgage.
It just doesn't benefit the buyer.
It benefits the agent.
Keller Mortgage makes us as a team look like champions. Definitely creates a win-win.
The savings with Keller Mortgage are unreal, actually. There's no underwriting fee, no processing fee, there's no origination fee.
If your loan amount is more than $150,000, they just give you straight up $1,000 for closing costs.
And a lower interest rate.
In order to make you the tech-enabled agent, we utilize the latest technology and most innovative systems to provide a smooth, stress-free lending experience.
Working with Keller Mortgage is kind of like Uber and it is kind of like Lyft.
There isn't the back and forth of did you send this or did you not?
I show them the mobile app and I actually show where the skip fees button is.
You really can just do everything with a click of the button on your phone. Click, click, click. I mean, it's very, very simple.
The easiest way to do it is use the Kelly app.
Kelly was able to provide a link.
Oh, okay, the appraisal has been done. Oh.
I like to be in the know, and Kelly keeps me in the know.
Ding, your appraisal's been ordered. Ding, the appraisal's back. You are clear to close.
It's very important to close on time.
It's kind of like going on a date. You ever show up to a date late? Yeah, you know how that experience goes.
If you can have any lending company that can close faster than 30 days, then you have a leg up in a multiple offer scenario.
With Keller Mortgage, as soon as you send them an executed contract, they order the appraisal right off the bat with no cost to your client up front.
I was like, what are they doing? Why are they ordering this thing so early?
I don't have to wait until after the finance period to find out that there is an appraisal issue.
When they pick up my flyer, they'll find something about the property, but also how they can save thousands of dollars by using Keller Mortgage. We have plaques set up that show 0+ plan what Keller Mortgage offers. It creates a conversation.
The fact that Keller Mortgage gives the credit back to us agents is something that no other lending company does. It's just such a win-win for us and for our clients.
Zero Plus has saved customers of Keller Williams $50 million in lender fees and lower interest rates over the life of the loan.
Simply by working with me, you can save $5,000.
It's a no-brainer for all of our clients.
If you're not using Keller Mortgage, give them an opportunity to earn your business.
We just love using Keller Mortgage.
I strongly recommend that you use Keller Mortgage.
So the reason, we'll just take a few minutes. The only reason we bring this up is in a shift, you're looking for an advantage. And with Keller Mortgage, with no origination fee, no closing costs, we give you $1,000 at closing. And oh, by the way, the way we do this and the way we get it done so fast is we do pay for the appraisal right up front. Even if the loan doesn't close, we eat the appraisal. But we order it immediately so that we can get on-time closings. And when they calculate those savings, the interest rate is as low as it can possibly get. We're not adding something back in. Yep.
You're not.
All right, Smokey, talk to us. So what does Keller Mortgage have to do with the shift?
You know, I think it's an opportunity. I got to sit with you a couple years ago and kind of hear about you talk about what was happening. I think we had 3 different types of shifts that are happening at this moment. First of all, we have the competitive shift, the industry shift. Things are changing out there. It feels different. So how do we compete? How do we compete? How do we show value? Second kind of shift we have is a normal market shift that, you know, it's prices are changing, flattening. It depends upon the market. Something different to talk about, but it's not just headed straight up. And the third kind of shift is a consumer shift. So how are consumers choosing to do business? And so when we sat a couple years ago, you said you didn't create Keller Mortgage because you wanted to. You created Keller Mortgage because you had to.
Yep.
I'm kind of like, okay, I mean, that whatever. And so I'm listening and let's see this. And so now we've lived this out. I mean, from a consumer standpoint, they're choosing to do business here. Keller Mortgage gives you that tool in your hand to go do business no one else can do.
Well, the reason we were able to do that is because we connect directly to the underwriter. So because the Keller Cloud understand that the data that Keller Mortgage is using is on Keller Cloud. So our ability to access that data and feed it back to the consumer in real time, it doesn't exist.
Right. And the direct to underwriter is one of the first that's ever happened. So direct to underwriter, you're talking to the guy that makes a decision, you're talking to the people, and that's what makes it fast. That's what makes it fast, smooth, and you're not having to go around lots of information. And so,
So what's happening at Family Reunion this year that's so important with Keller Mortgage?
Family Reunion this year, well, because of our people, because of everything this has done with our labs and what's happened with our labs over the last 2 years since we've started, and really a lot this past year with our people and the feedback and how we've grown. We've been able to open this up a couple of times, but actually this Right now, today at Family Reunion, we're able to open up Keller Mortgage to everybody here at Family Reunion. Everybody through the end, absolutely give them a hand because they crushed it.
Yeah.
Through the end of February, open enrollment to all. Go to kellermortgage.com, come to our booth, and we're going to have 3 different breakout sessions
And so everybody who's attending here can now open enroll to be able to use Keller Mortgage in their market.
This will be a tool, because the last thing from a competitive standpoint is this really, the 0+ loan is exclusive to Keller Williams agents. This gives a tool in our hand to go be disruptive. This gives something in our hands to go compete in this marketplace and have something no one else has to offer.
And we're working on a program for Canada, and we hope to be able to announce that here in the next month or so.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And then these guys have crushed it as they went.
Good. I'll let you talk to your panelists real quick.
Okay, perfect. You guys want to introduce yourself just real quick.
My name is Adelina Rotar. I'm with the Bankini team. I'm based in Austin, Texas. We launched the Bankini team in Austin in 2016. Our 3rd year in business was last year. We closed 238 units.
That's awesome.
I am Jordan Davis, and I have the privilege of leading the Davis team out of Dallas-Fort Worth. Our team closed 122 units for $30 million last year, and 40 of those units were with Keller Mortgage.
Wow. Absolutely. So now you guys have 2 different stories, and I think we just have a few minutes up here, but you have 2 very different stories. So Jordan, you were more of an early adopter on this, kind of by mistake, but you were more of the early adopter. Tell us about that.
So I was in a mastermind with Smokey, and he brought Keller Mortgage to us. I actually had just come from a conversation that I had a $500,000 listing that was falling apart. Turns out the buyer had another house that they probably should have sold in order to go into contract with us. So we were about $10,000 apart. What happens on that kind of transaction? I'll give 1% of my commission, you give 1% of your commission. We're a week from closing. I'm sitting in a mastermind with Smokey, and I hear about this, and I get up and leave. So I'm a high D on the desk. Smokey texts me later, did I say something wrong? And I just thought, this may work. This may save the deal. So figured out how to get in touch with Keller Mortgage. With the fees, waiving the fees, it was actually a lower interest rate, and it ended up saving the deal, and nobody had to take a dive on their commission, which is exactly what this is here for.
That's what it's there for. Absolutely.
I took that and said, we can run with this. I took it to our MAPS coach, Jordan Freed, and said, how do we make this scalable systems, roll this out with buyers, sellers, investors, Sphere, let's go.
That's awesome. And what's happened since then?
Yeah, so we've saved our clients over $200,000 last year just in lender fees. We're increasing.
Say that again.
Our team alone has saved our clients over $200,000 in 2018 in lender fees.
Wow.
Wow.
So when you talked about changing the conversation, that's changing the conversation.
Absolutely.
For her customers now, what she's done with them, have done an amazing job, because that's worked out to what value.
Our average commission by utilizing Keller Mortgage has gone from 2.5 to 2.8%, which is $90,000 in GCI last year.
Okay.
Good job.
The pathetic clap is they don't believe it.
I know, they don't. It's okay.
Okay, they're like,
Because we have the one that waited a while.
yeah, the one that waited a while. So I'm like the rest of you guys. I'm not quite as awesome. Like most of the audience, I was not an early adopter. So we actually started using Keller Mortgage as part of our value proposition last August. And what was happening to our business at that point, interest rates had just started rising, buyer price fatigue had set in, and our whole business was a little bit in a lull. And so what we realized is in a shifting market, we needed to give more tools to our agents so that they can convert those leads and close more deals. And so we closed 42 units with Keller Mortgage in the last 6 months. And we just had the best October, November, December, and January we've ever had. And what we found is an increased value proposition, like Keller Mortgage was able to help us increase our conversion. So I can talk to a little bit about conversion really quick. So our sign calls, guys, we looked at the data for the previous 6 months and the last 6 months. And our sign call conversion, call to appointment set, went up by 30%. And then our web lead conversion went up by 22%.
Wow.
That's powerful. And in a time when, now was the market going up, obviously?
Well, I mean, the market was kind of really quiet, and we
Right.
got scared, and we were like, what can we do that's not going to cost a lot of money? Oh, a 0+ loan would really increase our value proposition and not add anything to my bottom line.
Yeah, it's a novel idea. Let's try to save the consumer money.
What a concept.
What a concept. Yeah. And the only way we were able to do this is the way the business is run. The margins are still thin, but it doesn't really matter. We know why we're doing it, and that is to give you the opportunity. If you needed to save a deal, we want to make sure you have that choice, and we knew we could do this.
Right.
Because
How do you
of the
help both
scale.
the consumer and our agent all at the same time?
Yes.
Instead of going to them, you go through our
Yes.
people as an opportunity.
Yes.
And they both work that for bottom lines. Jordan?
And I love the opportunity to get creative with this tool. I say tool because it's not just a lender. It's a tool in your tool belt. So one of my favorite scripts is on listing presentations when somebody asks you to reduce your commission because they're selling and buying with you. I mean, every realtor's heard this. You know, the script is, Gary, let's say you're the seller. So you've asked me to reduce my commission by 1% because you're selling and buying. So Gary, can you tell me what's important about that to you?
I want to save money.
Okay, cool. So Gary, many of the sellers that choose me are just like you. They want to save money. And if I can show you a way that I can save you more than that, but still take home what I need to my family, well, it makes sense to go ahead and sign the paperwork tonight.
Okay.
Okay, fantastic. So through our 0+ loan program, I can get you no origination, no underwriting, no processing fee, plus a $1,000 credit at closing. Gary, that's going to save you $5,200 on that $300,000 home you're buying.
Wow.
And actually, if you go ahead and sign the paperwork, I'll put that same offer on your listing. And that means that your buyer, because as we know, days on market has gone up in DFW. That means your buyer can get the same deal. So they're not going to ask you to pay those closing costs. Gary, that's going to save you $4,200. So now I've shown you how to save $9,400. That other agent that offered to lower their commission, they've already shown you their negotiation strategy. Do you want to sign in blue or in black ink?
Red.
But you get to get creative, calling for sell-by owners and saying, hey, I don't want to list your home. I want to know if I can help you save money to buy, because saving money is important to them, right? And so I want to help you save money when you buy, and then when we go out and find your house, who are you going to call to list your house because it probably didn't sell on its own? So there's so many ways to get creative with this product. Calling your database, seeing if they want to refinance and become investors. It's slow season in your market, days on market's going up. Let's convert some people, help them build wealth. Really be thinking about them.
Yes.
And helping them become investors, and now you're creating deals for yourself.
Absolutely.
We come across investment deals all the time. What if I could pair my uncle with that investment deal and save him money on the loan? It's just brilliant.
Well, you figured it out.
She did great.
Yep, you both did. All right, guys. Smokey, any last word?
Last words?
I've been in real estate a long time. I started out as a receptionist, and one of the things I hear from a lot of our friends that aren't using a 0+ loan, Keller Mortgage, is like, is it really that good? I mean, are interest rates really that great? And we bought our house in Austin with Keller Mortgage. We just closed on a house for my mom yesterday, actually. So it's one of our investment properties, and guys, it's really that good. And so we're going to have a panel at 5 o'clock, and we'd love to see you there.
Excellent. We're going to go through how we're going to do this, how we're really taking advantage of the market. And Gary, thank you for creating this,
Thanks, guys.
opportunity. So,
Thank you.
you all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Jordan. Good job. Thanks, guys. All right, we have one more panel.
Great job. Yeah.
Thanks, guys. No, the comment I made was if I want to be in the mortgage business, I would have done it 25 years ago. The reason why we did this is we could see the handwriting on the wall. Now, again, they don't shoot the messenger, but we get shot a lot. We get shot a lot for what we're doing with Keller Mortgage. You don't have to use it if you don't want to, but what you hear from these individuals, it's real, and it saves money, and it works. Hi, guys. Do I get my chair back? You do. That's awesome. All right, so let's kind of go down the row. I don't know how the name things go. Are they in order?
Next slide.
Okay, great. Start with you. Introduce yourself. Go down the row.
Sure. My name is Ben. We run expansion real estate businesses across the U.S. right now, 19 different locations. We did about 2,300 transactions and about 18 million in commission.
And you have a fan club.
And that's where my mom was sitting.
My name is Brian Kane. I'm out of the San Diego marketplace. So I have a mega agent team there. We did about 75 million last year, and I'm also the operating principal of 2 Keller Williams Market Centers in San Diego.
Lance Loken with the Loken Group. We're with Gary.
I have nothing to do with that T-shirt, by the way. I'm with me too, but I didn't.
We've been in business for about 8 years. Last year we did 2,135 home experiences for 530 million and 7.8 million in GCI. And we have our first market center as well.
Stephen Pilkington with the Bogar Pilkington Group, Denver, Colorado, with the Denver Tech Center Market Center. And we did about 65 million in sales last year, and we've been top 2 to 3 team in Colorado for the last 5 years.
Thanks, Stephen. All right, so Ben, we'll just start right down with you. And the question, you guys answer any way you want, but shift is happening. There's no question about that. The degree to which we don't really know, right? The market was off about 3% nationally. That varied based on, locations and disasters, right, Lance? And then this year, we're probably going to see the same of that, if not a little more. We'll talk about tomorrow what's causing all of that. But right now, I'd like to just talk quickly about your reaction to that, your response to that, right? What do you do when the market shifts, Ben?
A handful of us were in the business the last time it shifted. And
yeah.
I have this thought about poor and broke. And some people can be born poor, trapped in poor, but broke is something that you do to yourself. And in the last shift, we all woke up. I think you said it last year. Sometimes you're losing so slowly, you think you're winning.
Yep.
You wake up one day and you're like, I could live on a little less. I could live on a little less. I could add one more person. I could spend a little bit more. And then you wake up and all your reserves and everything's gone.
Yeah, sure.
And for us in 2008, that meant making the decision between paying my mortgage payment or paying Jolene. And I had to make the right choice, right? And I just took the 30, 60, 90-day lates on my mortgage and just fought through it. And when we did that, we learned a lot of things. One, we have paychecks in our pocket that we can cash today. Those are listings. And there's a price that every listing in the nation will sell for. And if your listing is not selling, you can either 1, reduce the price, 2, remodel it, or 3, move it. Right? Those are your only choices.
Absolutely.
So what you do is you go and you say, all right, well, I'm going to cash those checks. And then you go and you say, if I had to work with any buyer today, who was the one buyer that if I worked with today would write an offer? Right?
Yeah,
you start making
motivated.
tougher choices and doubling down on your activities. And the
Absolutely.
activities, they're not complicated. And that's probably an aha that people have when they come visit us, is they're looking for a really complicated business model. And our model is very simple. Every agent works their sphere. Every agent does 2 open houses a week. And every agent makes $150 a day. And we know if you do that, at minimum, right, you're going to be successful. And if that isn't working, you increase the numbers, right?
Yes,
our number
that's
one
exactly right.
Our number one individual agent, her first year did 79 closed transactions because she did 26 open houses in Seattle in December. But by February, she had 17 pending or closed. If you want to get going, just double or triple your activities.
That's right.
Right, and then start paring back on your expenses.
It's not complicated.
No.
Yeah. What you're doing in normal time or whatever time you're in, when a shift occurs, you'll have to do more of it. You really don't have a choice, do you, fellas? No, you have to do more. Brian, what do you say?
So for me, I found my way to Keller Williams because of the last shift. Thank God. And in 2007, I was running an independent firm, and the market started shifting, and I just didn't know what I didn't know. And coming to Keller Williams is what really taught me how to really build a database, what lead generation really looked like, how to prioritize my time for lead generation. So I was able to really kind of come up in the real estate business during the last shift. And so it was pretty easy to recognize when it started happening in the market again. And it was around, in San Diego, it was around August of last year. You could see that showing started to wither away. Homes were sitting on the market just a little bit longer. Properties that you thought were priced exactly on the money per the CMA, they just weren't moving. And so what I realized was as long as your message matches the market of the moment, you can always make money in this business.
That's
and
right.
so for the first time in my business, we've been almost 84% repeat and referral. So it's our sphere of influence that's really driven my business in the last decade. We're changing some things. We're going deeper into the database, more client touch, getting in front, and for the first time, we are heavy, heavy, heavy into expireds. They're happening. There's more listings that are not selling, and
That's right.
if they didn't sell the first time around, guess who's going to sell them the second time around? We are.
Yeah, good for you.
So for us, it's about doubling the activities. Everybody on my team is making no less than 430 contacts a month. They're held accountable to that. We're getting in front of as many people as we possibly can, and we're making sure that for us, it's a matter of perspective. I've heard you say that word a few times today.
Yeah.
And I think in the market shift, one of the best things that we can give the consumer is reliable information and a good education. And you've said it several times, Gary, that it's our job to be the local real estate economist of choice. And so I'm going to help our consumers, our buyers and sellers make great decisions by giving them the information they need to know, especially not burying their head in the sand about this market shift and really understanding that, in San Diego anyway, demand's down 10% and inventory's up over 30%. The consumers need to know that information.
Thanks, Brian. Lance?
So back in 2011, when we started, fortunately or unfortunately for us, we were $250,000 in debt, so we didn't have anything to build upon. So we had to do whatever it took. So Karina, my wife, she loves to be on the phone and lead generate, and she was a prospecting machine. I don't like to talk to people, but I like to close transactions, so I was going out on the appointments and sealing the deal. That's how we started the business, and it was all prospecting based. Then as we've continued to grow, we got into marketing and different facets, and that was beneficial for us, but business was coming to us. Now, over the past year, we started to see the shift really start occurring again, and we allowed the come list me to overtake our business instead of focusing on the prospecting piece of it. And so Karina got back into the inside sales because Amy, our VP of inside sales, just had a baby, and she started to see that we needed to get back to the fundamentals, really be prospecting based, outbound prospecting. And they ended up having a record-breaking month in January for appointments kept, appointments set, and agreements signed. So it was fantastic. And the other key part was we're back in the do whatever it takes mode. So in October and November, we had a little hiccup on our listing side, and I got back into full production, and that's been a joy. And it's been an awesome journey as well, and I'll get back out of production about the end of May, but we're all hands on deck, get the business done, and just this month, we're gonna be 62% up in our business.
Wow.
Because of the activities that were happening before that.
Wow. Great. Stephen, what do you say?
So I got into real estate in 2008, started with Keller Williams, didn't understand what I was getting into, and I'm actually really excited for the shift to happen now, to take advantage of the market. We saw in July in Denver, the number of appointments set, the number of showings on our listings dropped between 30 to 40%.
Right.
4th of July, just bam.
Just like that.
Just like that. And then every month afterwards, we saw the number of sales drop between 4 to 10% MLS wide. And in some neighborhoods, that meant that you could price the home exactly what the neighbor just sold for 2 days ago, and you're overpriced by $50,000.
Yes.
So really making adjustments quickly. My coach brought up the concept to us that it's no longer about the 15-day protocol, it's about the 1-day protocol. It's how quickly can you identify that you're off goal and make adjustments on that? How quickly can you look for those opportunities? And then that led us to, as a team, we read Shift. We got everybody on board with it. Yep. So now we're back to doing prospecting parties. We do nighttime prospecting sessions. We do during the day. We came in on New Year's Day. We had 1,000 expireds on New Year's Day, and in a market where we were averaging 30 a week, to then have 1,000 on one day, fantastic opportunity. So we're looking forward to it and digging into our
love
sphere.
that. I love that, and I can tell all four of you feel that way. I feel the same thing. Not that I want hard times, but I understand the opportunity of a hard time. right? If you've lived long enough and you've seen it, you kind of do this a little bit and you go, this is going to be tough. This is going to be awesome. Whee! Right?
Well, you talk about taking market share all the time. And a funny story, in November, we were at 2.36% of market share. Then at the end of December, we were at 2.53%. In January, we're at 2.95%.
Wow.
In Houston.
Yeah, yeah, think about that. Yeah, so that's the gift of a shift. It's going to force you to get real. It's going to force you to get back into it in a way that you were kind of hoping you didn't have to do.
Right.
Let's admit that. I mean, that's just true. But at the end of it, you also understand it is a wonderful opportunity to kind of build a better foundation or a stronger foundation. You'll come out of that just a little stronger, a little better, right? The answer is yes. All right, so real quickly, go down the row. If you could just give one piece of advice. I heard you. I could actually give it for you, but I'll let you do it.
Sure, I think technology, for one, is a tool to empower us, and there's a lot of fear out there about technology replacing us. And one of the things I think about is the one thing that technology can never replace for us is if we shift our mind from being a salesperson to being the person that helps people manage their wealth in real estate.
Yes.
And our business cards should say that, and our comments should say that. You're the only one to clap.
Amen.
Thank you.
Well, I'm just saying, absolutely.
Yeah.
The role of the realtor in terms of the way we think about what we do for people is going to have to make a permanent shift. I think technology can help us do that. I think it can facilitate that. But it is going to take a mind shift. And I think that shift's going to be permanent. I do. I think we're going to elevate our profession a little bit going through this period. That's what I think. Love that. Brian?
Gary, I'm just going to take a page right out of the book that you and Jay wrote. In a shift, it's all about increasing your activities and deepening your skill. And I think that's the only thing that's most important is increase your lead gen and get smarter, get better with your scripts, understand what the message of your market is, and tell it to as many people as you possibly can.
And you're going to discover on your team if they see it as a job or a calling, if they see it as a job or that they're actually building something. And when you're building something, this is what you have to go through to get to the other side. You're going to find out, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. Lance?
Memorize and internalize your bold scripts and just be a master at script practicing. I mean, we got back to the fundamentals. And when we got back to the fundamentals of memorizing and internalizing our scripts and becoming a master, it's really changed the business.
And you know why? And you would all agree with that, right?
Absolutely.
The reason why that's true is because we're in a service business. And when you're in a service business and you're helping people make decisions, right? Words matter. So the reason why scripts matter is because as professionals, we know the vast majority of situations that our buyers and sellers are going to find themselves in. We know that. We know that. So we can study that and we can figure out how we can explain things to them, how we can share things with them, how we can present things that allow them to see as clear as possible what they should do. Yes or no?
Yes.
Yep.
That's what that script's about. Because a lot of people think, oh, I'm going to have to learn a sales script. And I look up and I go, what planet are you on? You're in the service business. You talk for a living. This is what you do, by the way. You're not a chauffeur. You help. You're the transaction manager. This is what you do. The script is not about the tie down as much as it is helping them understand the situation.
Gary, can I give an example to that? So just 2 weeks ago, there's an agent who's here for his first time at Family Reunion. He's on our team, and he was calling for sale by owners and happened to run into a for sale by owner who was a somewhat savvy investor. He had done lots and lots of flips and actually had found himself over-leveraged on a project. And the 14 other agents who had called him before were using their standard for sale by owner scripts just trying to get the listing, whereas our agent said, hey, listen, it sounds like what you need is reliable information and a good education so you can make the very best decision for yourself. Why don't you let us come over and give you that information? We got the listing.
Wow.
Love it.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
You know, another thing.
Way to go, Jake.
Jeff Quinton and Greg Harrelson did a mastermind with us last week, and I thought the biggest takeaway was, you know, we're utilizing all this technology and talking about, you know, digital marketing and everything else, but we don't impart it into our business. So we should be talking about all the showings that we're getting virtually, digitally, because people are looking at them online. It's the second stage that we have to get them into the home and have the physical showings.
Mhm.
So utilize the technology that you have at your fingertips.
Yes. Amen, brother. All right, last word is yours, my friend.
So two things, you can no longer be a functionary, you must be a fiduciary.
Yes.
You must be the expert, you must show up knowing more about their neighborhood than they do.
Yes.
And that goes the same for showing properties, you must do your homework. And then the second thing is add 5 people to your data bank every day.
Amen to that. Absolutely.
If you work 5 days a week and you add 25 people a week, every single week you're in real estate, you're never gonna have a problem.
This is so good, guys. Thank you. You
Love it.
said it. You said it perfectly. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, buddy. He's with me.
Thanks, Stephen.
Thanks, Stephen. All right, we have one last interview, and we're out of here. So we're probably going to run about 5 minutes over. You okay with that? You don't want to leave. You don't want to leave. I promise you don't want to leave.
Hi. How are you? Hi, Gary.
Hello, dear. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
All right, have a seat.
Okay.
So we're going to switch gears.
Okay.
Right,
Yes.
with you. So we're going to kind of go full circle, and we're going to talk about life for a little bit. So tell us a little about yourself.
My name is Danny Blaine, and we have a real estate team in California. And let's see, I have 2 kids, 25 and 27. And our real estate team is 60 agents and 22 support staff.
And the volume of business that your business did last year was?
Well, we sold 1,421 homes, 1,421.
Wow. Gotcha.
All the glory to God.
Yes. So something happened in your life recently. Tell us what happened.
Yes. So in May of 2018, my husband, Kevin Blaine, who was our team leader, our team owner, he committed suicide. And so we lost our leader. And
Yes.
here we are. We've regrouped, and here we are.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. So now, I gave her permission to tell me, don't ask, or I'm not going to answer, Gary. But so tell me what happened. This happens in your life, and at some point, you come out of the disbelief.
Yes.
Right. And reality is set in, and that is you have a business family.
Yes.
Yes. Your husband was the team lead. You were not.
Yes.
So
That is correct.
so talk to me about that. So you wake up and you go, my beloved husband is not here. I'm here. Our people are here.
Yes.
Now what happens?
So Kevin and I, we ran the team together. Kevin was the visionary, and I implemented all of the wonderful things that he came up with. A brilliant man.
He was.
Yes. And so I knew that he was struggling with depression. I did not know that it was to the point that he would take his life. And so clearly that was completely unexpected. We had to, as a team, just completely regroup. And my big why changed. And so it used to be, Kevin and I, we love to give, and we would always just give back to others, give back to the community. And I decided my big why now is how do I keep this team together, and how do I keep our support staff so nobody loses their jobs? And so here we are. Basically what we've done is we've had some great leaders who we had in place, but they've really stepped into place even more so. And we are continuing to grow, continuing to build our team. And we've kind of just had, so in May was when my husband passed away. We had a couple of slow months. And I think, Gary, that people were waiting and wondering, what are they going to do? Are they going to be here still?
I'm sure.
And we decided we are not going anywhere. We will continue to grow. We had to quickly change all of our branding. The state of California Department of Real Estate said you are no longer allowed to be the Kevin Blaine Real Estate Team. So we had to we became the Danny Blaine Real Estate Team.
Okay.
And we had to change out all of our signage, business cards, everything. And unfortunately, agents in our area, I think not all of them are bad, but some people must have too much time on their hands because they would complain and say, oh, Danny and Kevin, they still have their sign up, you know. And I personally, for me, would say, anytime I got to see a sign with my husband on it, that was wonderful.
A blessing.
I get to see my husband. Yeah, it's a big blessing. And I would have agents call. They would call our market center, talk to our broker, Department of Real Estate, and actually complain and say, you know, those signs need to come down. So what a shame. But
Yeah.
you know what? God is good.
Yep.
And our team is amazing. And you guys really reached out and helped us and basically kind of said, what can we do? And we're here.
So let's talk about that for just a second. So, absolutely. So what do you do? I mean, what do you do? I mean, there are people sitting out there today that are going through their own struggles. Something's happening, right? It's not necessarily and most likely not of their choosing, but something's going on with them. And they're asking themselves, how do I get out of this? What do I do? From what you went through, if you were talking to them this afternoon and one-on-one, and you needed to share or wanted to share what you've learned or taken from this experience from your life, what would you tell them?
I would say don't ever give up. There's not ever a choice to give up. And your team, family, it's okay to be vulnerable. We don't always have to be okay. And the loads that we carry are not necessarily our load to carry. So if you can be vulnerable, be honest with the people around you and say, I need help. So I knew that if I did not ask key people on our team, I need you to step in. Today I'm not going to come into work, and I need help, and it's okay to take a break. I think you have to have a balance, and my new balance is some days they're quite emotional, and some days it's like the greatest joy. You know, so if you just learn to operate in that balance and know everything's not going to be okay all of the time, but there are so many things to be thankful for. So even in spite of losing my husband, there are so many things to be thankful for. And that's kind of the way I operate my life.
Yes, I understand that. I went through a really tough time. Yes. I went through a really tough time in my life, and at one point, emotionally, it was so tough that during the day I would go in the bathroom and cry. And I remember later, people in the firm came up to me and they said, well, actually, we like you more now. And I went, why is that? And they said, well, you're a positive person. Sometimes we interpreted that as being Pollyanna-ish, and you just went through a really tough time, and you just hung in there until you figured it out and then kept going.
Yes, I think we always have to keep going, and I think
We do.
We do, and when, you know, I would say there's probably people out there today, and they might struggle with depression, anxiety. You might be a team leader out there or an agent who feels like you have to just carry this big load, and I would say you don't, and there's always help. There's counselors that you can seek. We have great team leaders within Keller Williams, great people that you can reach out to and learn from. So take advantage of those things. Don't stop. And every day, there's always something to be thankful for.
Yes. And sometimes life is so tough that you have to hang on that.
Yes.
You do.
I remember after Kevin had passed away, you know, and I thought, I do not know how I'm going to make it through this. And a lady had said, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had lost her husband was, write down something good every day. And one of the things she had coffee. And I thought, coffee's not good. I don't even drink coffee. Well, now I drink coffee.
Coffee is good.
Coffee is good. But you know, when you step out of yourself and you're not so focused on yourself and you're focused on others and what can I do for others, it actually, for me personally, heals the grief that I'm going through.
Yes.
Because it's really not about me. I believe that while I am here on this earth, that God has a plan for me, and I just want to make sure that I can touch as many lives as possible, and whether that's through real estate, giving back, whatever that looks like, I'm here to be used. So.
You know, what's interesting is that, yes. It's been said that love is the answer, but it wasn't self-love they were talking about.
Correct.
Yeah, when they say love is the answer, they're talking about the love of other people, of giving your life to the help of other people.
Yes.
The crazy thing is when you do that, what happens?
When you pour into others, you actually get filled up yourself.
That is true. The only way ultimately to save ourselves is to not save ourselves.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's hard to say that when you're in the moment, right? It's
Yes.
on the backside that you look up and realize that the way I got out of this was by not trying to get out of it,
Yes.
but to pour myself into other people and to trying to help other people.
Yes.
And along the way, I saved myself.
Yes, and walking through each day, walking through the grief and not stuffing things and learning, you know, there's sometimes I go in our office and we have a lot of Kevin's stuff up, of course, and sometimes it can just trigger something and, you know, and I'm sad, and other times it makes me laugh. And so I choose, like, let's laugh through this. Let's just make it through. So again, being thankful, and there is joy to come after grief. So
If you were going to, thank you for this, by the way.
You're welcome.
If you could give one piece of advice then to someone who might be going through this, what would be that one thing you would say?
I would say if you are going through a loss or going through depression, can you maybe ask me in another way? Just specifically that. If you are going through a hard time right now.
A hard time.
Okay, then I would say seek help. And a hard time doesn't necessarily have to be emotionally. It could be a struggle in your business. It could be a struggle in your family, financially, anything. Reach out. And again, there are always people who are smarter than us. Maybe not Gary Keller, but I know that I am continually learning. I have not ever arrived. I do not think I've ever arrived. And if we get that ego, then we don't get to grow. So if you're going through a hard time, whatever that looks like, just continue to go. Ask for help. Seek to understand. So I would just say hang in there.
Now, shift happens, doesn't it? Sometimes it's economic, sometimes it's personal.
Yes.
But it is. It's going to happen to all of us. If we live long enough, the thing I learned early on was if we live long enough, shift happens to
Yes.
us. Things
Yes,
happen.
it does.
And the older we get, and it hasn't happened, the closer we're getting to it, that it will happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Those are great words of advice. Thank you, dear. Thank you for
you so
joining us
much.
today.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, I'm going to walk off with her. Have a great family reunion. Thank you so much.